This video was sponsored by Kershaw Knives, creating high-quality, high-performance, exceptional working tools and knives that users are proud to carry. Use discount code ARCHERY20 for 20% off at KershawKnives.com. Hey Archery Talk, this is Lucas, and today it's time for my long-term review of the Scott Select Hinge release. I have been shooting this for, 2-3 months or so right now, and this has been my go-to release aid really since I took it out of the bag. The Scott Select has a just pile of adjustability as far as the hinge release goes. So I guess maybe we'll look at some of that in a little while. First, let's look at some of the basic features. There are some kind of added grooves inside the finger beds in here. So that doesn't do a whole lot, except maybe when you start getting a little nervous in those high pressure situations and you need a little extra grip, that'll help provide that for you. It's just got a single position thumb peg on here. Sometimes you get like a multi-position spot. It works fine for me. I would like to have the different options on there, but that's not the end of the world. And it's also an option really to go from 2 to 3 to 4 finger setup on here. I'm rocking a 3-finger setup right now. I've played with this at 4. That's what it came with out of the box. I have not really played around with it with just the 2-finger setup yet. I'm hesitant to do that, but I think I might want to try that before the end of the summer. See if I can go see if a 2-finger will work for me. I don't usually like a 4-finger for a hinge, just because it gives me maybe a little bit too much, control with my hand. I don't want to kind of get into the habit of forcing the hinge to go off. So the 2-finger will really limit how much you can do with that, and make sure you're using mostly kind of your back tension and maybe a slight little bit of wrist rotation to make that release fire. You can move this up and down. There's a screw right here for that, so you can you've got half an inch of adjustability in there, kind of change the angle of that 3rd finger if you want to. All up to you. Now let's have a look at the actual adjustability as far as how this release works. So let's talk adjustments as far as making this thing shoot how you want to shoot. Before you do anything, you're going to unlock this lock screw, set screw right here, and that start giving you control over making the smaller adjustments. This one comes from the factory setup with a click. You can have it with a click, you can have it with no click. You can decide how much space you have between the click and the actual release firing. It is really entirely up to you how you want to have it. So I shot it initially with the click set, which is how I typically shoot a hinge release. But I just didn't like how this click was making me feel. It's giving me a little bit of anxiety. I don't know if it's the sound of the click or what. So some, depending on the releases, some I'll use a click, some I won't. This one I just don't like to use it, so I took it off of there. And it's a super simple procedure. Let's look at the way to do that if you want to get rid of that click. It is pretty simple. Once you've got that set screw cracked, so you can make your adjustments, you come over here, and then there is a screw on this side. This is the click moon. There's 2 moons in this, so you want to. There's the only one you can really individually move is the click moon itself. So you loosen that screw in there, and then you can move that moon up and down. If you want to have the click, make sure that click moon is lower than the release moon. Since I didn't want that, I moved the click moon ahead of that. Simple as that. That's all there is to it. And this is the same thing you do if you want to adjust how much distance you have between the click and the release firing. So if you want it to be kind of super close, you almost want to have these things level. And that'll be, with the click moon just a hair below that, then you'll have a very click fire. And if you would like to have the click go early, so when I shoot a click, I like to be a bit of a break. So when I come to draw, I want to hear the click, and I want to relax and make my fire. So we would put a little more space in there to give me that much more distance between when the click's going to go off and when the release is going to fire. And once you're done that, you just you tighten that screw down, and then you tighten your lock screw, and you're good to go. If you want to change how fast the release fires in general, as far as the how hot or cold you like it, that's also a super simple procedure. So same thing, you're going to unlock that, and then there's another screw right in here, and that adjusts your speed. So if you go counterclockwise, you're going to make this go colder, so it's going to take more rotation for the release to fire. If you go clockwise, that's going to speed it up, so it's going to take less rotation for the release to fire. I have mine typically set up very cold just because of how I hold my hand, I think. Your mileage is going to vary, so you're just going to do some experimenting. It's super easy to play with. Again, you can make, you have a lot of room here to play around with. You can make very small adjustments to get it to feel exactly how you want it to feel. Super simple, super straightforward. The release itself, again, fits in my hand quite well. This is a medium release. I usually would buy a large because I have fairly large hands, but for some reason the Scott medium fits me great, so I have no intention of going over towards the large. And yeah, again, I love that there's adjustability in this thing. You go from 2, 3 to 4 finger. You can play around with that. Use this to set up however you'd like it to be. I think that's about all I got for now, Archery Talk. I think this retails for $220, which is pretty standard for for a flagship level Hinge release. So if you want to learn more, go visit the Scott Archery website, and you can find out all you need to know there. Thank you so much for watching. Please do like, share, and subscribe. It helps the channel an awful lot, and we'll see you again soon.